Just a quick video on some artillery artifacts I have. These three things definitely go to artillery. This thing I'm not sure. It looks like one of those surveyor things where they shoot the laser at it off the tripod and they have like a stick or stake and they have a reflector on the end. This doesn't have any marks, but it's clearly from the military. Just got that green paint. But I thought this might be something to do with like those aiming circles that they use. Kind of look like some surveyor equipment. And that's what this goes to. This is the plumb bob from an aiming circle. Aiming circle is like a tripod, and it has some equipment to help you aim the artillery, like a little scope on it. And this would hang off of the bottom, and it would have a string inside of it to help you get the aiming circle level. You'd have a string in there, and of course you'd be able to pull it through that hole. It's got a serial number on it somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Number. And there's your number. That's how I found it, by looking up that number on Google. So I thought that was really cool. I wish I had some of those artillery things that look like a slide rule. They're made out of brass, and then there's some other ones that are round that have numbers on them to do your calculations. And then there's like a wrench. Or there's a whole bunch of other stuff too, but there's a bunch of wrenches to help you turn the fuse to the proper time and whatnot. Always thought one of those would be cool. And there's this. I guess my grandfather snagged this from the military. I didn't know. I didn't know until recently that this was a piece of artillery equipment. And I would have got. It's been laying out where it's been in the weather and stuff. I would have got it. I just thought it was some old tape measure, and I think it's intense. But I use this now for measuring when I go out in the desert and do shooting, like with the PSL. And I've got it on backwards, because I'll often just take the whole thing off and drag it from place to place and measure out 300 feet for 100 yards. But chrome clad, it used to be chromed. I've looked these up on the internet. The Lufkin Rule Company, Saginaw, Michigan. I had a friend that was born in that area. But yeah, this one's definitely seen better days. I've seen them for sale on eBay and stuff. But and then there's one of the best things I've ever found. But to me anyway, at least. I was driving a dirt bike and I saw this green thing. And what'll happen sometimes on the armored vehicles, they'll paint the tracks have rubber on it, and they'll just paint the whole thing green. So sometimes you find these pieces of the little pads on the tracks that have come off and they're green. And this was partly buried in the sand, you know. I think it was like this. And it looked like that green rubber to me, and I just kind of zoomed by it. But this sling was there, and I slammed on the brakes. I was like, those rubber track parts don't have slings. And I came back, pulled it out of the dirt, and I saw this, which made me a bit cautious. You know, I mean, it's only helium-3, but I mean, radioactive. And I don't want to be breathing anything radioactive. And so I just put it in my backpack, and I took it over to my buddy's house, and we were talking about opening it. He wanted to open it in his house, and I'm like, man, I don't know what's in there. You know, it feels pretty heavy. And so we went out on the porch, and I popped it open. I was pleasantly surprised. There's a tool in